Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Dojo Live. This is the recap show where we talk about last week's broadcasts and highlight the key points that we learned and that stood out. And so that's our intention today to do that within 10 minutes and announce what's coming up for the coming week. So I'm Tulio Sergusa. Today is June 21st, 2021. Summer solstice, first day of summer. Welcome, summer. I
Officially.
also officially, I also want to welcome the co-hosts here joining me today. Kim Lantis, who is in Hermosillo, Mexico. Hi, Kim.
Hello. Hi.
And Carlos Ponce from Cuernavaca, Mexico. Hi, Carlos.
Pleasure to be here.
So we had 3 rebroadcast shows. Oddly enough, past few weeks we've had to rebroadcast some shows, but in the next couple of months now we're fully booked. So go figure. The life of producing a live video show, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what did we had? We had a rebroadcast of Rob Käll, who's the CEO at Cien, talking about using artificial intelligence to improve sales productivity. It was an interesting show. Then talked about the third wave of artificial intelligence with Peter Voss, who is the CEO and also the chief scientist at Aigo.ai. And finally, settling into the work from home life with our very own Matt Perez, who is the EVP and CEO at Encora, specifically Encora, Mexico. So great conversations. Which one stood out the most for each of you? And let's talk about them a little bit.
Ooh, that's easy, Tulio. That's very easy.
Let's not all just pick Matt.
I won't.
Yeah. Well, I remember the conversation. It was a long time ago, but I remember the conversation with Raul. And by the way, Tulio and Kim, just so that you know, I do remember that he corrected us because his last name is pronounced Shal, not Call. So
Shal.
yeah, exactly.
Would've
It's
never
Rob
known
Shaw. Yeah. No, I mean, I just thought I would mention it because I remember it very well. So it was one of those conversations, as we've had many pertaining to the role of artificial intelligence in the sales and marketing processes, and how AI is on the verge of how can I say this in the sales and marketing world becoming I'm not going to say dangerously because that would be overkill, right? But how can I put it? I think it makes me feel restless because when I'm on this end, on the user end, and I see things that are reaching out to me, and I'm always thinking, hey, this is a great thing. This is a great person. This is a great this. But then at the end, it's realized that it's all artificial intelligence. Not saying that it's a bad thing. It's a challenge to to do it in a way. And that's what I think that Cien, that's his company, does, is to do it in a way that not only makes it appear more seamless, more human-like, more human-centric, but at the same time very effective. Okay, because it sort of weeds out the unwanted items that might, pop up on either end, on the selling, or in the buying that side. Anyway, the topic was using artificial intelligence to improve sales productivity, and that he accomplished very nicely at Cien. And what else? It's international company serving many countries and geographies. So I really like that conversation with Rob, and it has indeed a deep impact on the way now I see sales processes.
I think it's interesting. It goes into Peter Voss's talk, right, on the third wave of artificial intelligence. And what is that third wave? And honestly, that conversation is great. And he broke down a lot of things in ways that make really good sense, even to the layman, like Carlos and I, for example.
There you have it. I'm not ashamed to recognize that I'm a layman.
And I was like, wow, I'm understanding this. This is great. And basically, he goes through those 3 waves. So the first one just being software in general, decades of programming, flowcharts, procedures, etc. And then the second wave, which I think came about more or less in the 2010s, which really was involving big data and machine learning. But the problem there is it's still relying on patterns and stimulus, right? So massive amounts of data in order for a program to make distinguishings and oh, he must be talking about this. And then what's necessary now in this third wave of AI, which some companies are beginning to achieve, is the ability to add context, memory, reasoning to those patterns. And what was really interesting, and it was so silly that he mentioned very early on in his talk, which I had never thought of, is before he even got into the software side of AI, he studied intelligence for like 5 years. Like, what is it? How do people think, right? And how do we and first understanding thought before we try to replicate thought. So, which makes perfect sense. But essentially, how do we think? How do we have short-term memory, we have long-term memory, we reason, we can pick apart complicated and long sentences. We ask for clarification if something isn't making sense to us. And all of those types of elements that we need to therefore incorporate into this new now third wave and the applications of what that third wave could look like. I think he was utilizing it mostly with the business side being the enterprise side, how we as people, girls, could get more out of software, right? To use software more efficiently. But their goal is to make a personal assistant. So we're thinking Jarvis-like, and they had 3 check marks, which is why personal, going back to what you were saying, Carlos, about really involving the human side. Like, we own it. It would serve our agendas, not an agenda of, somebody to up their sales or their market. It adapts exactly to you and your needs, and also the ability to keep it private, which is pretty cool. So
cool. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Cognitive computing or cognitive AI is, some people predicted it's not going to happen until 2045, 2055. However, there's about 1 million knowledge worker shortage in terms of labor shortage coming up. And that is going to probably precipitate moving that agenda forward faster, because you still have to get things done. And if you don't have enough people to do it, you've got to have to figure out how to use automation to get one person to be able to do 10 people's worth of work. So we'll see how that plays out. Cognitive AI might be coming out sooner than we think, just out of sheer need. All right, we're running out of time. We had also Matt Perez. We love Matt. Matt and I have been working for almost 3 years on this Radical Purpose Initiative and Society 2045, which has taken a lot of the practices we've come to love here, which treats each other as adults and responsible people that don't need to be managed or looked over their shoulders or micromanaged, etc. And just everyone acts as if they are co-owners of the company and take responsibility for themselves and responsibility for each other. And how important that is from a point of view of working from home, right? Because you have to rely on someone being responsible, and to a certain degree, it works because you become self-accountable to your team. So, and the key thing to that is to treat people with respect and with dignity, and acknowledge that we all want to feel a sense of belonging, a sense of meaning from what we do, and we want to make an impact. So creating an environment where you can do that is the key to keeping everybody happy and satisfied. And
which made our own transition to the working from home a lot easier.
Exactly. And that's the secret.
Noisy children aside.
All right. We got like less than a minute. Carlos, we got a full week. We got 4 shows this week. Live shows. What do we got coming up?
That is correct, Julio. Okay, well, we got 3 shows. On Tuesday, we are going to be speaking with none other than David Jack, the principal of Moon View. That's the name of the company. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be speaking with Adam Hocek and Christina Imri, the CEO and CTO respectively of Aigo.ai. And finally, on Thursday, we're going to be speaking with the principal at the name of the company, is Red Rex. Red Rex, and the topic is going to be digital building, floors, rooms, and walls for a seamless transition between remote and in-person collaboration. So there you have it, folks, right here on Dojo Live at 12 p.m. Pacific.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.